You're listening to the Back Porch Talk podcast. Danny and Jason had many discussions and debates on the back porch while making pivotal investment moves with assets. That's right, with trading cards. They welcome you to the back porch and right into those discussions about current sports news with a fresh and unique twist. So come on and join us. Welcome to the Back Porch Talk podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason.
Chicago's Danny.
Fans, we got a full show for you today. Danny, it was NBA All-Star Weekend. The festivities were in place in Indianapolis. And, oh boy, we got a lot to talk about. The NBA All-Star Weekend is probably one of the best weekends for any of the professional sports when it comes to an All-Star festivities. The NBA, they make it into a full weekend and where they celebrate those who have come before, those who have played before, and they tell some great stories, ultimately up to the All-Star game. And let me just say, Danny, you know this. Growing up, we always had order pizza. And we was like, man, we are making an event off of NBA All-Star Saturday night, where you have the three-point contest. Back then, it was just the three-point contest and the dunk contest. That was the event. That was the night, along with pizza. And things have changed. Back then, the dunk contest was the culminating event. I mean, the premier event. It's not so much nowadays. Right now, it's the three-point contest that is the premier event. And it didn't disappoint. The three-point contest to me on NBA All-Star Weekend Saturday night is the best event. Some may argue that it's the skills challenge, which the skills challenge is also a good event. Steph and Sabrina, they went ahead and did their thing. They battled it out. That was great, and I actually would have loved to have seen Sabrina in the regular three-point contest because she scored 26 points. All the other guys scored 26 points. So I would have loved to see how that really would have played out. So I think that, no, she would have beaten out some of the guys. So kudos to her. And then it was the dunk contest that it was a combination of things, Danny, whether it was just the lackluster dunks or just the scoring of the dunks. It just wasn't a good showing. And then, oh, by the way, it was Sunday night with the NBA All-Star Game, and where, Danny, this is utterly ridiculous. It was like 200 points scored in this game, man, by one team. Not total, by one team. And the East, they go ahead and prevail. Damian Lillard, he becomes the MVP. There's something that's got to be done with this All-Star game. I just don't know what it could be, but what I do know, something got to be done. Danny, what say you about the NBA All-Star?
Skills challenge, I thought was pretty good. The only exception was Anthony Edwards and that whole left hand thing, because you're out there competing and the other guys were competing. It wasn't like everyone else was just chilling out. Everyone was actually trying to win the event, and he went left-handed, which ended up costing them at the beginning in that first round. I wish he would have did it with his right hand, his strong hand, and actually it would have been maybe a different result. But I like the skills challenge. I think it's pretty cool. Steph and Sabrina was cool. Three-point contest, like you said, it did not disappoint. Actually, a lot of the newcomers that came in actually hit a lot more shots than I expected. Because usually you get the new guys that come in, like a Jalen Brunson, for example, and they just gets to them because they get tired, because that's a different type of event where you're just going and you're trying to get everything done in a minute and wear down. But they all actually shot pretty decent. in the 3-point contest. So that was cool to see. There weren't a lot of duds. And then the slam dunk contest, Mac McClung actually, that dunk he did, that first dunk where he let the ball go and caught it again and dunked it. I thought that was, you get back to your scoring. I'm like, there's no way that's not a 50. Anybody, you could try it on an 8-foot rim. That's a hard dunk for what he did with somebody right there. That was not an easy dunk. So I thought I thought some of the other participants had some good dunks. And Jaime from Miami, I didn't know he could even do what he did. He actually,
like that, yeah.
He surprised me because if you watch his game, he's more of he doesn't play above the rim, put it like that. So he surprised me. Toppin actually had a nice dunk. It was the scoring and Kenny Smith it was sometimes it was hard to see, but at the same time, it was like he was right because the scoring was all over the place.
Yeah,
it was like that. I think that took a lot away from what they did, and it was nice to see Jaylen Brown. I know he didn't do anything spectacular, but for a name to be in there, I think that shows that others should join. I think that may help a little bit. We've seen this thing from the get-go, all dunks. And so the creativity is very difficult now on these guys trying to do this. So I give him credit for going out there. And like I said, that dunk when he dropped it and picked it back up and went backwards, that was a 50.
I just think, Danny, I have to agree with you. Going back to Jaylen Brown, I mean, we're not only talking about a big name, we're talking about big dollars. Because if I'm not mistaken, Jaylen Brown is the highest paid player in the NBA.
300 million.
For him to be out there to, in a sense, I can't say risk it because he does a guaranteed contract, but he is still risking injury. If he can be out there, I think that's a showcase that others can be out there as well. So I'm glad a name was out there. What this would do, because we always hear it, like during the dunk contest or immediately following, you get some tweets out there saying, hey, I'm going to participate in the dunk contest next year, and then it'll never happen.
Yeah.
LeBron said it at one point. Now I think John Morant, he's saying some stuff. So we'll see what happens, but there's something that's got to be done with the dunk contest or just with the NBA Saturday night. I mean, don't know.
I think we're spoiled too, Jay, because we actually saw Jordan and Dominique Wilkins at the top of their game in the slam dunk contest. Like,
and I still say,
head to head.
And you know where I'm going with this, Danny. You know where I'm going with this. I still say Nick got robbed in 88 in Chicago. Everybody knows that, man. You kidding me? Are you kidding me, man? Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And they still talk about that to this day. The All-Star game. And just to highlight some statistics here, the East All-Stars scored at least 50 points every quarter. 53, 51, 56, and then 51 again. A total of 211 points. In a losing effort, Karl-Anthony Towns scores 50 points. Damian Lillard, he wins the MVP, scores 39 points, man. This has some remarkable threes from half court, whatever the case may be. I mean, there were some great performances in here, but there was also a huge lack of defense by both teams.
And Jason, you watching the game, there's dudes like walking up the court and not getting back, and that's the part of the game that people, it's every year though. We always have this where
the same discussion.
Yeah, it's the same discussion every year. How can you change the All-Star game? How can you have the players play harder like they played back in the day? How can you have players out there? Everyone's saying they're Kobe. They idolize Kobe. The awards for Kobe. Who's the hardest player in the game? As of late, Kobe. Kobe busted his tail every All-Star game. He wanted to win. And none of these, and that's not there.
And I'm going to say this too, Danny. One thing I noticed, remember when Giannis first got into the All-Star game
Mm-hmm.
when he first got there and how hard he was playing defensively and everything. You didn't see that no more. You didn't see that in this past Saturday night or Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that speaks volumes, in my opinion. When you have the hardest player with the highest motor kind of scale down for the All Star game, that to me says a lot about the game.
Yeah.
What Adam Silver and what will they do? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to put more money up. I don't know if they go to a format instead of East West or a pick 'em, thing or setup. If they go USA versus the world,
Or they
see
change it, Jason, from 5-on-5. They go a different route with it. Or because it's come to a point, man, like it's impressive to see the shots they're making because still, when it comes down to basketball and people making the shots they're making, they're still making those shots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if a hand's in your face or not, but at the same time, there's no way in the world somebody should get 200 points in a game.
It's crazy, man.
And
Crazy.
like I said, it was people walking down the floor, people just lollygagging, and there's a lot of people pay a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
families, and that's for the fans. And that's where I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of this gets lost is it's supposed to be for the fans. It's supposed to be for those legends sitting on the sideline watching you play.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, I think it was Bird or Dr. J or somebody, they had the Legends brunch and they had interviewed him. I believe it was NBA radio. And what did they say? They wanted to see them play hard like we used to play in the All-Star game, at least give some type of effort.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that tall of a task. And if you don't want to be there, don't go. And they got to figure something else out because there's a lot of hemming and hawing on who makes the All-Star team because I think it's probably bonuses involved and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna be there, no one's saying play like it's game 7, but dang, get a hand up. Play in front of somebody.
Make it competitive, man. I think what's going to end up happening, man, I could see them doing away with the All-Star game.
That's what I mean. It's gonna be like the Pro Bowl.
And do away with the dunk contest. I think, it may be close to being time.
Mm-hmm.
And just focus in on the skills challenge and 3-point contest. And then let the legends have their weekend with the lunches and maybe make it into more of a premier event, but even behind the scenes. Because at this juncture, I don't know what good is it for us to really showcase it on TV. Now, what I will say is, what I do tune in pre-game or pre-Saturday night festivities, I absolutely love looking at the documentaries or the short documentaries that they have on different time periods.
Mm-hmm.
And or different time periods or just on different stories in general. Absolutely love seeing that. And so this time was no different. I've heard the stories about what was the first All-Star game and where they actually protested because they wanted to have pensions.
Mm-hmm.
And so they talked about how they didn't have any of the footage, if you will. And so they went to AI. They used AI to conceptualize what the story actually would look like.
Yeah.
In some instances, and so that type of stuff to me is really cool because it gives you an opportunity to see where technology and basketball where it meets and how it can really drive things moving forward and really be able to tell the stories. So those are the things that I really enjoy actually watching. Dunk contest has gotten to a point where it's really hit and miss. I mean, I think the last great dunk contest probably was Zach LaVine and Eric Gordon.
Yeah.
Going at it, which was an amazing dunk contest. Some would say it ranks up there.
I agree.
I re-looked at it. I was like, this may actually rank up there.
Aaron
So,
Gordon got robbed.
man,
he on that
not
Knicks
once but
side.
twice.
Yes, he got
Back-to-back
robbed.
years, man. We'll see, man. We'll see. I think it was great seeing Damian Lillard really go for it, compete, and actually win for the 3-point contest and as an MVP. And it was good hearing him on the set with the TNT crew and what Shaq indicated and said to him. He's like, now, y'all shouldn't be no 3-7. This is on you, Giannis, and Doc. So you need to go back to the locker room, grab somebody by the neck, say, I need y'all to do this, this, and this. And, really go from there. He's saying be more aggressive in the locker room. There's no reason why we should be 3-7 under Doc right now. We'll see, because my understanding is the Bucks have the third, fourth hardest schedule the rest of the season.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting.
That's the Portland Damian Lillard right there that we saw this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen that yet in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
He's had flashes. He's shown flashes. But he was able to play his game, I think, too, where he can kind of open it up a little bit and be himself. And I think he's still trying to figure that out in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully this is, jump starts the second half for him and for that playoff run, because they're definitely going to need it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us at Back Porch Talk Podcast. You can also join us on Twitter by tweeting us at @back_podcast. For more information, you can go to our website, which is backporchtalkpodcast.com. You can also email us at backporchtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us, and remember that there's enough hate in the world, so go ahead and spread a little love.